equity मांगते हैं. So a lot of relations happened. Somehow we met Mr. Ramdev Agarwal of Motilal Oswal. This center name is Motilal Oswal Executive Center. We met Ramdev ji in 2008, Motilal Oswal, and showed our balance sheet, everything. He said, "Yaar, you're so small, came from Jaipur. एक चार्ट अकाउंटेंट है, संजय चार्ट अकाउंटेंट, आई एम जस्ट अ बीकॉम ग्रेजुएट, सॉरी, दैट टू 3rd डिवीजन. सो एक ये बीकॉम है, एक चार्ट अकाउंटेंट है फ्रॉम जयपुर, मारवाड़ीज, माडूज, कैसे आ गए यार तुम मुंबई यार? एंड हाउ कम HDFC gave you 200 crores on a capital of 5 crores, and that 5 crores is also you earned from 2003 to 2008. It's very unheard and very unlikely from HDFC Bank, because HDFC Bank that time also was very conscious, very conservative towards lending, everything. So guys, you go back, let me check from HDFC, and you call me after 15 days. So after a fortnight, we called Ramdev ji. Sir, anything? He said, guys, come over. We went to Mumbai. And he said, yaar, I checked about you from Aditya Puri. He was a MD and CEO of HDFC Bank, we all know that. A lot of Paresh Shatankar, he was a friend. Then he said, guys, if Aditya Puri can give you 200 crores on 5 crore capital, I can take bet on 20 crores. So the first equity we got in this company in 2008, 20 crores, the equity of, it's in the domain, 35%. They took 35% by giving 20 crores. You can check what was the valuation. 65, 60 crores, something like that, 2008. And then we came back and started building our own book, our own loan book. And then it's a capital intensive business. Every 2 years you can't leverage more, so you need to bring capital. So 2010, we onboarded IFC, World Bank, and then Warburg Pincus, Kedara. Everything was going well, We formed one AU housing company also, which is today Awas Financiers, जो हमने बाद में divest कर दी थी. Then we became the bank. And we were housing one insurance company also. Life was going well. 2015, RBI came out with the category of small finance bank. And when we read those draft guidelines, we were so excited. Whatever we were doing for the last 20 years, it was just written there in that draft guidelines. And if you are in a financial sector, the best platform to be is a bank. What you can aspire of. So we gathered some courage and applied to RBI for the small finance bank. We were very small. So RBI got 72 applications, friends, all over India. 10 licenses were given in India, small finance bank, Out of that, 8 were microfinance companies. 1 was local area bank of Punjab. And we were the only NBFC. We were the only NBFC asset financing company that time. We got that license. And believe me, why I am telling you this is a real India growth story. No phone call from RBI. This is the most prestigious, most difficult platform to get, license to get in any country in India also. We got this license only because on our merits, our application, they checked everything about us. For the last 20 years, they checked about us. We got this license. So we got 18 months to transfer from NBFC to bank. And 19th April, 2017, we converted our NBFC to bank. And I just show you the data also, what we are present today. And in this last 7-8 years also, guys, we bought one small finance bank, which is Fincare Small Finance Bank last year. We acquired that bank, And last year, August, RBI gave us the in-principle approval to convert from small finance bank to universal bank. That has never happened in last 11 years. There is no precedent in the RBI history also. No bank has been promoted from any cooperative bank or small finance bank to universal bank. This will happen for the first time. So this is, till 2017. Yeah. So this is the data of 2017, So customer base 5 lakhs. When we started bank from NBFC, our customers were 5 lakhs. It took us 20 years to generate 5 lakh customers. In last 8.5 years or near to 9 years, I think this April will be completing 9 years. Now we have a customers of 1.25 crores. No, 22x. Employees, when we became bank, it was 8,500 employees. Now it's 60,000 employees in the bank, 60,000 families working for the bank. You know, because as Professor Sir said, it's a people business. It's a phygital model. You need to have physical branches. You need to have people also. You know, and the touch points. We converted 300 branches NBFC to bank that time. Now we are pan-India presence of 2,726 touch points all over India. You know, deposits, we were non-deposit taking NBFC. We garnered 1,38,000 crores of deposits in last 8.5 years. It has never happened in the banking industry. First 10 years, no bank able to garner this kind of deposits. Gross loan portfolio. Remember my loan outstanding in 2008 was what? 200 crores with a capital of 5 crores. Now my GLP gross loan portfolio from 10,700 to 1,30,000 crores of loan outstanding as we close December 25. Total assets, you know, the balance sheet. It was 10,000 crores in 2017. Now it's 1,75,000 crores. 1.75 trillion, friends. It's very easy to say to me, it's a number to you, but what has gone into it? If you want to see how many zeros come into 1.75 trillion, it's difficult to count the zeros. You know, we have lived this journey. Capital was 2008, 5 crores. Now the shareholders fund, when we converted the bank, it was 2,200, and now December, it is 19,000 crores of capital. Yeah. Sir, you said price to book. I can say that AU Bank, and nobody knows normally, AU Bank is most probably the highest price to book bank in the country.
We'll write a case on
It has never happened, sir. My PAT was 300 crores. December, my PAT was 2,313 crores. You know, we are the largest small finance bank in the country. And we are now pan-India, CASA ratio is 29%. These are the data, you know, stable deposit 80%, cost of fund is, my cost of fund when we started company in 1996 was 18%, right? And no loss to HNIs, profit is 50-50. Now my cost of fund is 6.61, yield. My loan outstanding at 1,30,000, yield is 13.8%, average yield. Gross NPA is 2.30, and this is the crucial point, net NPA, 0.88%. That's responsibility, you know. We have access to, you know, unlimited deposits from the depositors. We are a custodian of the money. If I am not lending right, these delinquencies cannot be there. Because of consciousness, you know, at that yield, to those customers, vulnerable customers, so-called vulnerable customers, they are not vulnerable, but so-called vulnerable customers, you know, delinquency is this. And my 60% advances goes to MSMEs, because I also come from there only. My still average ticket size is only sub 10 lakhs. As a small finance bank, my 50% loan book should be below 25 lakhs to individual customer. That's a condition to RBI. So that you should go to tier 2, tier 3, urban poor, where bank doesn't lend. That is why the small finance bank category came into India. So in 8.5 years or near to 9 years, by size, I am number 12 in the country in all private banks. Number 12 in the country, just 8 years old. By market cap, sir, by market cap, I am number 6 in the country in private banks. So valuation of 65 to 70 crores in 2008, it's an outcome. Today is, I'm somewhere 75,000 crores of market cap. It's 1,000 times. And by ROA, sir, profitability. By ROA in private banks, I am number 4 in the country, maybe number 5 today, only 8.5 years. So, you know, a lot of things has gone into it. A lot of ups and downs we have seen, highs and lows, last 30 years, you can say that. Yeah. So I'll take you forward. It's all, you know, pan-India. We are very dense in South also. When we acquired Fincare Small Finance Bank, we got the South network actually. you know. You imagine, company started with the borrowed money, DSAs of the bank, borrowed money from HDFC, got money from institutions, you know, and then you became bank, which is the most difficult to get, you know, and then you acquire one bank, and now you get the approval of Universal. You see the journey. It has never happened in the history of any financial services. Yeah. So now as a bank, I'm a complete bank, you know, catering most of to MSMEs, you know, because I also belong to your fraternity. You can say that. So just, you know, you can say everything is there in the bank. Whatever you need from scratch to any big corporate houses, I can cater those services. Everything, you know, physical, fast start, everything. These are all English, I can tell you. But what all the products we created in last 8.5 years in the bank, again, with pride, I can tell you that it has never happened in the banking industry. All banks, minimum takes first 10 years to learn how to get settled. You can see the history of HDFC, ICCI, Axis, Kotak, Yes Bank. First 10 years, please go. It's there in the domain. First years, that has never happened. Yeah. So this is all products, you know, this is, you can think of what bank can provide. It's not just a small finance bank because, you know, still India, people ask, what is this small finance bank? Because it's a new category, you know. But we are a full-fledged, complete bank for all the Indians. Everything, technology, we are very agile in technology, very advanced in technology, invested heavily in technology when we became the bank. And the state-of-the-art technology, world-best, very agile we have, you know. Yeah. So this is important. What brought us here, you know? IPO. 2017, we listed ourselves, you know. Before IPO, you can be a hero of your own society, within your families, within your friends. You know, people acknowledge you, yeah, you have done a good job and everything and all that. But IPO is a real testament to your journey. Because public acceptance is the biggest acceptance. If public accepts you as a company, as a balance sheet, as a business model, as a promoter, that's a real testament. And that's on quarter. You know, what Raj said, mentally, you have to be very mentally strong. So IPO is based on that, you know, public trust, governance, compliance, it should be the topmost, the highest. There is no compromise on that. There is no negotiable on that. You know, as a banker, what I say, कि आप गलती से भी गलती नहीं कर सकते. Ignorance of law is not an excuse to as a banker. Because I'm a banker, I have access to hard-earned money of the depositors. That is how, if you go for the IPO, your governance, your compliance, your self-conduct should be the highest. And as always, there can't be any gap. Please take care of that. And then these three things, stability, you know, you need to generate capital, reserve capital, preserve capital at all the times. In the vulnerable times, you know, one or two, 3, 4 years here and there because of COVID, GST, you know, demon, that Ukraine crisis, the high interest rate scenarios. You know, a lot of vulnerabilities are there. In last 8 years, what has not happened to us? What Raj sir was telling. When we were making banks, the demon happened, and then GST happened, then, you know, bank crisis happened, then mother of all, COVID happened, then high rate scenario, then wars. What has not happened? We never got 1 or 2 years straight to work, but still the growth came. So the stability is very important. You need to be capitalized adequately. Sustainability. Friends, credible businesses require stability. I'm sorry to say that I meet a lot of youngsters, they don't have patience. बहुत जल्दी business change कर लेते हैं, it's not working, let's change. Or you play for the galleries. अब IPO आए हैं, market को दिखाना है, valuation करना है, let's play for the galleries. No guys, you have to stay on the pitch. It's a test match. It's not T20 or it's not a ODI. It's a test match. You have to be there on the pitch. Test match start हुआ है, first day है, windy है, ऑस्ट्रेलियंस बैटिंग बॉलिंग कर रहे हैं, आप बैटिंग कर रहे हैं, ओपनिंग आए हैं, बॉल तेज आएगी, बॉल तेज आएगी, जुप निकलेगी, बाउंस भी होगा, बट यू हैव टू स्टे देयर ऑन द पिच. इफ यू गेट आउट अर्ली, next day when next player will come, he will make the centuries and you will be watching him from the gallery. You know, you have to stay there, you have to stay on the pitch. Sustainability के लिए you need to stick to your business model. Believe yourself, what CK sir said. Believe yourself. You are into the right model, will make it succeed. Because 1 or 2 years in this scenario, it will come. You can't help it. So you know, the samajhdari, imandari and zimmedari. They are just 3 words, but you need to go into it, you know. What is samajhdari, what is imandari and zimmedari? It's towards your business, towards your society, towards your economy, towards your country. You have to have that conduct within you. And then scalability. You have to stay relevant. We talk about, hum jab bank bana rahe the, it was technology. Your bank should be very agile and technology driven. 2017. Now we talk about 6 months back or 1 year back, AI, JI, you know, so many things. You never know what will happen after 1 year. Something new will be talking. But you have to stay relevant for your business. What is there, you should be agile, you should be nimble to accept those changes. And you are able to do those changes in your businesses. Please remember that. You have to be agile. For scalability, you should be relevant to yourself, to your business model, to the society also. Otherwise, this stability, sustainability and scalability not going to happen. Believe me, stay on the pitch, stay on the pitch. Yeah. So I think I have only 4 minutes. I said it took 30 years to come here to ISB and only 30 minutes. Fine. Sir, I never went to business school, sir.
We have a PhD program.
Oh, okay, sir. सर मैं आपका अगर स्टूडेंट होता मुझे क्लास से बाहर निकाल देते बिकॉज आई एम ए 3rd डिवीजन बीकॉम ग्रेजुएट यार, वो भी फ्रॉम दिल्ली. So India story, guys, we know a lot about India, you know. Believe us, guys, we all big companies of the world, it comes from US. I was just talking to professors, why not from India? TCS was 1 lakh market crore in somewhere 2006, and we were so small at that time. 1 lakh crore of market cap of TCS in 2006. Whatever balance sheet of HDFC Bank was having in 2008, I am having today. It's a real India story. And what is going to happen in India for coming 2-3 decades? Guys, it's exploding. We just can't imagine what has happened in the last 30 years and what will happen in coming 30 years. You just can't imagine. Just stick to it. Stick to your business model, stick to your belief, and whatever you are doing, please shiddat se kariye. If you do everything from shiddat, kainat aapka saath degi. You remember the Shah Rukh Khan dialogue? You know? So that will happen. India is the best country to work in, and we are so fortunate they are born in India. आज से 20 साल पहले, 30 साल पहले, all youngsters used to say we go to US, we go to UK or Europe or Australia. India में कुछ नहीं है यार. It's not happening in India. Please tell yourself, your colleagues, friends, children, don't curse India. Now India is the best country to live in, best country to work in, and we are so fortunate they are born in India. And our age, your age, not my age, I am so old now, yeah, your age is the right side. You see, you are going to see 20, 30 years of India, 40 years of India. You know, the reforms they are getting done in India, the policies, you know, the ease of doing business, but it takes time. 1.4 billion people, मैं अपनी कंपनी में कुछ चेंज करना चाहता हूँ, takes time. You know, just give some time to yourself, to the country, to the economy, to the political hierarchy. But what is going to happen? Imagine, we took 75 years to come to 4 trillion. India took 75 years to reach to 4 trillion. When Ramdev Devji came to us in 2009 in Jaipur, he said, Uttam is a GDP of 1 trillion. You see what will happen. That was a trillion क्या होता है? अब 2000 क्या समझा रहे हो हमको? छोटे से NBFC पैसे दे दो, काम कर लेंगे. I remember his words. It's there on the YouTube. 4 trillion took us 75 years. In coming 5 years, we are going to double. Imagine if 4 to 8 trillion or 10 trillion in 2030, if we grow by 7.5, 7%, 6.5%, 6% GDP, what will happen in India? Just imagine, just relate yourself. Stick to your business model. India is the best country to live in. Please tell your children, your colleagues, your friends, it should be in your Jahan always. Your best country to live in. And best time is yet to come. Best time yet to come. And always carry this pride that I'm an Indian. Amen? अरे यार जोश ही नहीं है दोस्तों यार. Let's have some energy. I told you, अगर आपको entrepreneur बनना है, you need to carry, whether you're on highs or lows, need to carry energy all the times. Your mental strength is very important. So the energy should be very high at all the times. For you, it's always good morning. No noon, no good night, or no evening. It's always good morning. You have to carry that energy as an entrepreneur. Right? अरे यार फिर Are you excited or anxiety? You should feel excited all the times about your country, about your family, about yourself, about your business model, and try to give something back to society. As a banker, I carry that pride. It's a commercial world. All market caps, my salaries, a bonus, my ESOPs, everything is there. But I carry that pride. As a banker, I am serving back to society. Because I am getting money from somewhere, I am giving them extra interest. And I am lending to those people who are deprived of formal credit. And they are doing well in their life. They are doing well for their children, education, how they are growing. And in between, I am there as a banker. It gives me a lot of pride. That's why I got the license. So please carry that pride, whatever you are doing in your life. My time is up now. Okay. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for hearing me.
I've been looking at the financial markets, and India is now the 4th largest financial market in the world. So, the Singapore Stock Exchange cannot compete with us anymore. I spent 8 years in Singapore, and they considered themselves the financials. They considered themselves the financial center for India. Now we have 3 banks, HDFC, ICICI, and Kotak and
ISB.
Anyway, so we have 4 banks that are larger than the largest bank in Singapore, which is DBS Bank.
Yes.
And collectively, India is becoming the financial, we're still way behind China, but we have certainly overtaken Singapore. We've overtaken them in the stock market, and we used to rely on external money. But companies, if you look at Suzuki India, it's more valuable than Suzuki Japan. And you look at the IPOs going on in India. So it is not, we are no longer looking at foreign money. We have enough money from inside India. And thank you all for bringing it from under the mattresses and wherever it was hiding.
So I think you got the material for case study, sir.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Namaskar. It's an honor to you.
We should be in the middle. You be in the middle.
Thank you.
Okay, sir. Did you want a collar one or?
Thank you. It's an honor.
Slide changes.
Thank you, Sanjay.
कॉलर मैम के लगा दीजिए अच्छी तरह यूज करते हैं
हम वही है
ये ऑन है ये ऑन कर दीजिए ये ऑन कर दीजिए सो थैंक यू सो मच thank you so much for the session, sir. I kind of really resonate with what you have said about India being the next country with maximum opportunities, right? So for the next session we have Mr. Parvati Murthy. She's Associate Vice President, SME Business Development at National Stock Exchange. So for the public market pathway, she works closely with enterprises across the countries on SME listings and readiness. So she's a chartered accountant and also holds global risk and finance credentials with experience spanning across corporates and investment banking roles before focusing on SME platform. So her lens is valuable because it forces a different kind of a founder discipline: disclosures, governance, investor communication, and the question every serious growth stage founder must eventually face: what would it take for the market to trust my numbers and my story? Let's hear it from Mrs. Pallavi Murthy. Thank you so much.
So first of all, good afternoon, I think, as Uttamji mentioned, good morning to all the entrepreneurs here. It's lovely to be in Hyderabad. And I can actually sense the kind of entrepreneurial energy which is there here. So a lot of what I have in the slides are bits and pieces of what you've heard along the way. But of course, I'll also touch through from a technical aspect what it means, what NSE can do for you. First of all, like what Professor told us in the morning, the example of the most resilient or the one who's most adaptable. I could say, Professor, three things. One is that as Indians, we are always resilient. So if you compare across the globe, I think among the success stories of COVID, as a country who's been able to navigate COVID the best, it's been Indians because of our natural tendency to be resilient. Now, within the universe of Indians, if I were to say businessmen, they are by far the most resilient in nature. If you compare with people who are otherwise, professionals or salaried people, I would count businessmen to be naturally much more resilient. So Indian businessmen, and among the businessmen, I would say it's the SME guys who are the most resilient, because when you look at SMEs, it's generally squeezed from both sides, right? You are generally the ones who are supplying to the larger corporations. So in effect, you are essentially having to, so let's take an example of Walmart, which started the whole just-in-time, or even Suzuki, right? The largest of the corporations are essentially, someone who's assembling, right? So you talked about Tanishq, sir. Tanishq is not necessarily manufacturing all the pieces it manufactures. So from hooks of your necklace to the screws of the earrings, right, to designs locally. Tanishq is a national brand. It will vary for Kolkata, it will vary for Punjab, it will vary for Hyderabad, the designs which it makes. And who are supplying to Tanishq? Who are supplying to the Maruti Suzuki? Who are supplying to the Tata Motors? So in effect, SME is there in between. So you're squeezed from your customer end, you're squeezed from your supplier end, because your credit metrics or financials don't stack up. So like you said, sir, when you started, right, the numbers don't look compelling. So obviously getting credit is difficult, right? So within resilience, Indian businessmen and SME Indian businessmen are by far the most resilient of the lot. So, but the perpetual problem stays, which is capital, right? India remains a capital-starved economy. Our attempt here at NSE is to throw light. So I would want all of you to go back with a thought that, okay, this is an alternative. And if I were to pursue that alternative, what is it I need? That's what I want to be leaving you with. To introduce NSE, the typical thought which comes about NSE is that it's for the larger corporates. It's for the Hyundais and the larger companies which list. But I'm very happy that we have two of our listed companies on the main board. Again, from a tech perspective, so we had Zaggle listing in 2023. Somewhere, I think it was pioneering, 2023. Since then, from the tech space, we've seen about in the last 18 months, 15 odd companies from the tech space to list. So PhysicsWala, Office, right, First Cry, Brainbees, all of these are essentially GoDigit. All of these are new age companies. So it's not meant only for the larger conglomerates. It's equally meant for the startups and the new age kind of businesses. Again, the platform which looks after SME is what we call as the NSE Emerge platform. So somewhere since inception, so NSE was formed in 1994. So we are ourselves just a 30-year-old organization. But somewhere the need was felt that it cannot be that a large company and a small company must adhere to the same regulations, right? So 2012 is when we got the approval from SEBI to start a separate segment, which is called as the SME platform or the SME exchange. So works just like the main board. So any script which you were to trade, you will trade through the same way, through your same broker, right? Some of the numbers which I'm really happy to share is since inception, we've got about 700 companies which have listed on NSE. Similar number in BSE, so collectively about 1400 companies today are listed on the SME platform. But again, does no justice to the kind of SME ecosystem which we are living in. Another interesting statistic here is out of these 700 companies, over 150 have gone on to become to the main board, right? So you come on the SME platform, which is little more easy to comply with and eventually grow and become larger. And along the way, look at the valuation or the market capitalization. So these 700 companies which have raised about 22,000 crores have gone on and created wealth, about 2,20,000 crores of market cap. So along the way, not just create wealth for the investors, but of course for the promoters, because what you're essentially doing is not diluting entirely, you're diluting only 25%, which is what I'll talk later. The platform which started in 2012, the early years, similar to your story. We've gone through nook and corner, from Jammu to Kanyakumari, from Rajkot to Siliguri, right? To just tell people about what SME IPO is, right? Today, I don't need to start with that. Today, most of you sitting here would know what is an SME IPO, right? What I'm here to talk about is that what it can do for you, what are the trends, right? So, but I don't need to define, like you started, right? I was wondering when you're asking, do you know AU? I thought this is not the time you need to be asking that. I think everyone knows that. So, similarly, I don't think I need to ask you what is an SME IPO, but I would want to see, you look at those 3 towers at the right? Post-COVID is again where the need for capital has not been so pronounced as much it has been post-COVID. So even this platform has actually taken off post-COVID. So out of the 700 listings, roughly 300 have just come in the last 3 years. And now if I were to wear the regulator's hat, something which grows so fast, so soon, right, is again recipe for disaster from the eyes of the regulator. So there have been some checks and balances which the regulator brought out, and that is basically, what I'll take through, not too much in that. But what I'd want each one of you is to imagine your enterprise's journey and look at this from bottom up. When we start with an idea. Right? And that idea is where you generally first see whether there is an acceptance of my idea in this, world. And that's generally self-funded, maybe through friends and family. When your idea is, okay, this is an idea which can get into a business. Now we are talking of early stage. That's the first time probably you get some seed capital. You would find your early venture or an angel investor. You have a number of seed schemes. You have organizations and institutions like ISB and B schools who will be able to give you the support it requires, like prototyping, sir. Right? So all of these are things where you are talking of the early stage. Now note in both these stages, what you're requiring is what I will call as risk capital, right? Risk capital is because at the earliest stage, whether this business will survive or not is a question mark. And risk capital is different from what is called as growth capital, as the topic today is scale me, right? So now when you go to the growth phase, what you have is a product which has an acceptance. It's a market which you know you want to tap. Right? And what you need is that capital which will help you scale your idea, right? So it is not the question whether my product will find acceptance or not. It is that how soon can I expand my product's reach, right? Whether it is distribution network, whether it is marketing, whether it is increase in production, what you need is money to scale your business. And that is growth capital, which is different from risk capital. And that's where a public market can come in. That's where NSE emerge can come through what is called as an SME IPO. That this is a stage where, you know, an injection of capital can help you scale your business. What path would have taken probably 7 or 8 years can be achieved in 3 or 4 years through this capital. So there are certain prerequisites. The public markets are very, very different from the private markets. So what works for a PE VC wouldn't work here, right? At the end, of course, everyone is looking at profitability, but because we are talking of public markets, in a way, like you said, you're taking deposits from people. So there is, in the financial space, whether it's banking, whether it's capital markets, we are essentially protectors, not of public money, but of public trust. Unless you show that you are keeping that trust intact, it's going to be difficult for you to traverse this journey, right? So an example which I often give is generally when businesses start, they start as proprietary concerns, they start at partnership concerns, right? Traditional mindset tells as many relatives as you have, open that many partnership firms, right? The first step towards being in the public markets is to start by making it a public limited company. Public market means the public should be able to freely trade in the shares, right? So first step is it should become a limited company, right? So when you become from a partnership firm or a proprietorship firm, you become a limited company. What is happening? Of course, paperwork aside, what is happening from a mindset perspective is that you imagine you're working or you're living in a glass house, right? That with the company becoming formed, your financials, your basic details are available with the ROC and anyone can see that. So you're basically running your business in a glass house. What happens when you convert from a private limited company to a public limited company once you list is that you are working in that glass house with the curtains drawn. So you are still on your shop floor, you are doing your business, no one's going to come and tell you, I am going to teach you how to run your business. You're going to do your business, but the only thing is that everyone can see how you're running the business. And that's basically disclosures, that you need to keep these people who have invested in your business updated about how you're running your business. What are the risks in that business? So that's the mindset change which you need to have, that shed that idea that I am the promoter and I alone can run the business, right? Earlier, sir mentioned about how important it is to keep professionals in your business and not just the relatives whom you surround yourself with. And for you to succeed as a public enterprise, you need the right kind of professionals, because what is happening in that glass house is visible to everybody through the listings, through the disclosures which you do in the stock exchange. So the first thing is a public limited company. Few other criteria, I'll not go too much into the technicalities of it. A minimum dilution of 25%. Again, here is where we generally encounter the most resistance, right? Why should I dilute? I am the 100% owner of my business, right? So I'll just jump a few slides and first give you some food for thought. And I'll draw it to what you said, sir, that market cap of AU, 75,000 crores, PAT of AU, 2,300 crores, right? Where is the wealth coming from? The wealth is not from the 2,300. The wealth is coming from the 75,000 crores of market cap. The wealth is built not by owning a small orange, 100%. The wealth is built by owning 75% at least of a large watermelon, right? So think in that way, that if you show the right profit and you show the right business and consistency in your profit, the market is going to reward you because it's going to value your company at a multiple which is much higher, and eventually it's not money made only for the investors. You're making money for yourself too, right? So coming back to the technical aspects, I'm not going too much into the detail. Three broad criteria I can ask here with a show of hands. How many of the business entrepreneurs here have run their business at least for 3 years? Business in operations for at least 3 years, right? How many making some profit, operating profit, and a positive net worth? That means that the losses have been taken care of, right? So the show of hands, broadly, all of you are eligible to list on the NSE Emerge platform and begin your journey as a public enterprise. So very broad numbers. So what I want you to do is just think that this is something which I can do. Then is where you will begin how you can get about doing it, right? So very broadly, minimum operating profit of 1 crore in last 2 out of 3 years are the requirements. Off of a sale, or what we call as existing shareholders exiting and giving new shareholders, unlike in the main board where generally we see the PE VC funded or Hyundai, for example. In case of SME companies, this is at 20%. That is that existing shareholders cannot sell more than 20%. The capital has to come into the company, right? Let's now talk more on what trends we are witnessing. Rather than that, all of these, what I have mentioned, is available on our website, so you can anytime link it. One very clear trend, as you said, is still the dearth of capital, right? So capital A, traditional banks used to provide that, right? There was a shortfall is where the NBFCs came in, tried to meet that gap. So you had the early NBFCs, the Tatas, Aditya Birla, L&T, right? You have the new age NBFCs who have tried to fill in that gap. You have the fintechs who have tried to fill in that gap. You have PE VC who have tried to fill in that gap. Although PE VC works on a certain niche segment, it's a newer entrant into this. The gap still remains, right? So this is one of the ways in which you can contribute to remove that. So the trends is very clear that as we stand today, capital is required. So this is going to be something, again, a structural story, right? Borrowing, since we are in a B school, by far the best B school in the country, I would use a management consultant terminology that we are increasingly in a VUCA Bani world. It's volatile, it's uncertain, right? It's binary. One politician in US can decide what happens to your export-oriented shrimp unit, right? So that's the world which we are living in, and it's the most difficult for SMEs because I would say, like you say, gave the examples here of evolution and Charles Darwin, right? It's only the one who can adapt, who can survive. So unfortunately, the smallest are the ones, the small fish are always eaten by the big fish, right? So for you to scale, you need to absorb that this is how it will be, right? So if we have to look at it, I'm very happy to share a statistic in terms of the growth which we are seeing in NSE itself. 10 years ago, we were just having 1 crore registered investor. Today, we are in upwards of 12 crores, right? And for an SME company, you need only 250 of these 12 crore shareholders to subscribe to your IPO, right? So if we are seeing this change, that there is increasing financialization of savings, many people earlier, if we rewind maybe about 10 or 15 years ago, no one would know what's an SIP. Right? Somebody in Assam, like you said, Jaipur, right? People wouldn't know that stock markets can be for us, right? That's changed a lot. And it's only a matter of time that it is also going to change for the companies who are issuing, right? Let's take a look at what kind of companies we are seeing come. Although till now out of 700, it's Mumbai, Delhi, Ahmedabad, which is about 60% of it. But if I look at it from a delta, if I look at it from what's happening in the last 2-3 years, it's clearly the tier 2, tier 3 cities which are leading and South India which is leading, right? Because clean promoters, strong balance sheets, good business model, a good distribution channel, a good supplier network, all of it is there here. So what is needed is just the conviction that yes, capital markets is for me, I want to traverse this path, right? So definitely we are seeing number of listings increase from across India, but specifically from tier 2 and tier 3 cities. And another change which we are seeing, it's the second and third generation who are mostly these are, kids who've studied overseas and come back. Like you said, India is the place to be. So these are people who don't want to run the business in the typical, I could say, Lala way in which it has been run by their grandfathers, it's been run by their fathers. They want to see professionals run the show. They want to show the right kind of profit, have the proper people, processes in place, because unless you have your people and processes in place, you're not going to be able to scale up. If you're going to still run your business as that one-man show who is also the head of HR, marketing, supply chain and finance, you're not going to be able to make your business go from your small town to pan-India. You need to have people in place, and so it's the second and third generation entrepreneurs who are driving this shift to accept transparency, to accept corporate governance, to accept public markets as a way to go. And it's not just about your choice, right? Somewhere or the other, it is going to be forced to you. Because if you're not scaling up, the kind of competition which we are going to be living in with 140 crore of us, right? Competition will force you to scale up. Because if you're not going to be scaling up, if you're, not going to be scaling up, you're going to be finding it difficult to survive that competition. I mentioned about new age businesses. I'll talk about a few case studies as well. So these examples which I gave you, these new age run businesses are not just listing on the main board. Just 2 days before, Marushika Technology, that's a new age tech company, got listed on the NSE Emerge platform, right? In May 25, we had Virtual Galaxy, which is again a tech platform based company, list on the NSE Emerge platform. We have TechD, it's a cyber security firm. Again, 30-year-old entrepreneur from Ahmedabad who's setting up a new business, listed on NSE Emerge platform. We have a company called Exato AI, which got listed on the BSE platform. So it's not that the SME platform is meant only for hardcore manufacturing traditional SMEs. We have new age technology companies, AI-based companies. We have services companies. All of these also using the SME platform. So new age businesses. Again, I'll talk about an example in the case study, right? Sustainability is again one of the main drivers for companies to list. An example I could give you is a company based out of Kolhapur, right? Small town in Maharashtra, of course a sugar and textile hub. Its business, it supplies grey fabric, and its fabric is used for bags by Zara, right? Now, European companies require that their entire supply chain adheres to sustainability norms so that they can certify that they have achieved whatever is their sustainability goal. And so, if you want that entire supply chain to be there in terms of certification, you've got to follow those business practices. You've got to procure that material. And so, that again becomes sustainability becomes one of the reasons why you have to raise capital, right? Somewhere in the journey of an SME company, you reach a stage where I am not able to put in more money as a promoter. Banks will ask me for collateral, right? Where am I going to get the capital from? This could be a stage where you can examine capital markets or SME IPO. We saw so many examples where Professor told about the larger corporation. In a way, these large corporations operate as OEMs, right? Simple, I can give you an example of Balaji Wafers, right? Balaji Wafers is not frying those chips across all, it is these smaller companies which are supplying the ready to fry, base, the condiments, the packaging, the supply chain. So every OEM which is growing is bringing with itself an entire ecosystem of SME companies, whether it is in services or products, packaging, supply chain, logistics. Each of these are growing in turn along with the OEM, right? So somewhere we are seeing a OEMization of all types of business, right? And as each one of the speakers told before, our strength is our 140 crore people. So companies which operate in logistics, companies which operate in food delivery, all of these are playing to the India consumption story. Until 2024, the markets were such that it didn't matter what business you had. Even if you were having, unfortunately, Yamaha dealership, the investor would be able to give you at least 1,000 times subscription. That day is gone. 2025 is late 2025, early 2026, I would say discretion is the word, right? So we've had instances where SME IPOs have gone unsubscribed. We've had instances where IPOs have been withdrawn because investor doesn't buy the story. You cannot be just the run-of-the-mill company expecting to take a bet on the momentum which markets are doing. You need to have at least 3 things in place. One is a niche business, right? It has to be a niche business, otherwise competition is going to kill you, right? It needs to be fundamentally sound. A non-negotiable is the corporate governance framework. We are talking of public markets, so you need to be ready as though SEBI is coming to your house tomorrow, right? So corporate governance is not something which you choose to do because you list. It is something which you imbibe, and listing is only going to showcase that better to the world, right? and a consistent financial performance. Ask any investor whether you want just 1 quarter of super profit or you want consistency. 99 out of 100, or I'd say 100 on 100 investors are going to bet for a consistent financial performance. So like you said earlier, number of youthful people having a great idea, not working once, let's wind this down, go to the next one. It's not going to help you. You've got to show consistently that your skin is in the game. You're there, like you said, batting like Rahul Dravid on day 1 of an India-Australia test, right? Some, like I said, market, so if you see how the market was, 2023, 2024, any kind of IPO you bring, 100 times oversubscription was the norm. That's sobering. 2026 has seen a number of IPOs even getting withdrawn. To the ones who are here as investors, what I would like to say is that the listing pop, which Dr. Ram mentioned, right? That's just a discount which you offer. It's like, you know, you get your customer to your shop by offering a discount. But your customer becomes your lifelong customer when he sees value in your product. It is similar what an investor does. What you leave as listing gains on the table is what you get your investor to hook onto you. But the wealth is made look beyond just the listing day. The wealth is made, so today, this is the stock price as on today and the market cap of the company as on today vis-a-vis its listing day. 2026, the companies which listed in 2020, right, 3 to 5 year horizon for you to actually make 5 times of what you've invested. So it takes time. Think of it. For the companies which listed, sir, between the day you listed and the next day, what changed to the company, right? Nothing changed on ground. The money has to come. You have to deploy the money. You have to do the capex. You have to buy the machines. You have to run those machines, do the production, sell it, make profit, and then it goes to your EPS, right? So listing day is not going to directly contribute to market cap multiplying. It takes 3 to 5 years. So as an investor also, you need to understand, and that's where consistency matters, that for your investor to compound, you need to show consistent delivery of profits. The SME platform is kind of maturing. So what I've compared here is the smallest main board IPO to the largest SME IPO. So the smallest main board IPO last year was about 116 crores. The highest SME IPO was about 167 crores, right? Same way the year prior to that. So about 200 crores, highest SME IPO, about 72 crores, the smallest main board IPO. So whether the choice of main board or SME is something which you can leave to your financial advisors to decide, but if you have an idea and you need a scalable capital to scale your business, definitely SME IPO is a much more mature market now than it was when it started, right? Few things why you should, beyond of course the financials, is the visibility which it will give you. Simple things like retaining talent. Especially for SMEs in smaller towns, retaining talent is not very easy. Once you're a listed company, you know, all the promoters to whom we've spoken, who've listed, say that the perception in the minds of my existing staff members, my potential staff members, my vendors, my customers, all my channel partners who are associating with me, my perception has changed. Everyone says, "Arey, ye listed hai," hai na? So there is some kind of a visibility, perception change which happens. You're able to retain talent better. You're going to be able to get better opportunities. A lot of companies have in turn managed to get better export orders simply because your export company, the customer, is able to know much more about you because your details are available in the public domain, right? So quickly spending 2 minutes on 2 success stories. First, let's start from a city, from a company based here very much. Shrivari Spices, with a small issue size of 9 crores listed in 2023. At the time of listing, the company's market capitalization was just 30 crores. Today, it's about 115 crores, right? See what happens to the turnover. In 23, it had a 30 crore turnover. With the capital, it reached about 80 crores, and today it's in excess of 112 crores. Soon to be about 200 crores. So that's what can do to you an injection of capital, the revenue and the profitability. When I mentioned about niche business model, another example which I'd like to share is of Fly SBS Aviation, company based out of Chennai. First time promoters, professional captains. This is into the space of private charting, so private jets, right? So again, not somebody who's from a business family, somebody who started the first time. This was among the most subscribed IPOs, so a 100 crore issue, niche business model, good corporate governance, strong management quality, listed with a market cap of about 400 crores, and currently it's hardly been about 8 odd months since it listed, right? 900 crores of market cap, and definitely slated to do well. So these are some of the success stories which we've seen. At NSE, I'm here specifically to dispel the myth that exchange is not approachable. I am leaving you with my contact details as well as my colleague who's present here, Senthilji. Please reach us in case you have any questions in your mind about how to go about the process of listing. We are here to handhold you, and we are here to see very soon, hopefully, that we'll come and ring the bell together with you in this lovely city of Hyderabad. Right, so signing off. Thank you for being a wonderful audience. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hi everyone. So we have a panel discussion next. So all the questions you can shoot. My simple request is keep the questions short and straight so the esteemed panel members can answer. Thank you. Also, we'll be distributing mics, so you can ask the questions via them. We need 2 volunteers.
For my, I will take one.
I'll just send someone.
Can be on the other side.
Sure.
Hello. Mics will be there on both sides. You can just request for the mics and ask your question, please.
Where's my notebook gone?
You need one mic here.
This one, yes.
So how was all the sessions since morning? I think you all enjoyed? Think big? Great. So now we thought like a Q&A session, not a panel, because they gave a lot of insights and this is a time to shoot all the questions. You can be as brutal as possible because we have all the decision makers over here who will talk, so please.
And we'll be as honest as possible. But not helmets, huh? They've got to be brutal, not just mics, you have to give us helmets.
Yeah, please.
Ball तेज आने वाली है.
Exactly. Day one hai.
Yeah. So I think we can start with some questions, and in between, maybe I'll ask my questions too, but maybe from the audience who want to go first. Please tell your name and your business, or your business name, and you can just ask to whom you want to shoot the question.
Yeah, this is Srinivas Mariala. I'm into CCTV distribution business. I'm from Hyderabad. My question is to Mr. Kumarvel. So at what point did you stop being involved in daily operations? And what were the key steps you took to transform naturals from a service provider to a strong brand?
Oh, thank you, Srini, for the question. And right from the day one, we decided that we want a scalable business. So to that extent, the seed for this scalable business was there from the right from day one. The inspiration is Anita Roddick of Body Shop for us. She is a big inspiration, and we looking at her, we thought we should do the franchising, but we adopted a lot of things. I have a favorite framework which I call it a CCI, which is copy, customize, innovate. Copy whatever is happening good in the world and around you. In the younger age, I thought copying is wrong because my mom told copying, we think copying from the neighbor paper only. So I used to think it is wrong. So to come out of that took me some time. But then copying, now it is called benchmarking and so many other new terms they are saying. So we are talking about copy, customize, innovate. So many of the things what I have taken is from Anita Roddick. Then the founder movie is a wonderful thing. The McDonald's, it's a movie on how McDonald's was scaled. Founder, anyone who wants to see, must see movie. Third is franchising, simply put, is about using other people's time and money. But rightly put, is about franchising is about using other people's time and money responsibly. In a country like India, which I fondly call as we are a constable conscious society, we are not a signal conscious society. The people think franchising is cutting the golden goose and taking money out of it. To play a trust card and make the franchise as a partner in your business and mutually beneficial scaling is what we have thought from the day one. And thanks to Anita Roddick and thanks to McDonald's and thanks to so many people who have instilled that idea and systems and processes.
Yeah. My name is Raghudi. My question is to Parvati ji. So we've seen IPOs where in showing financial losses and seeing the market growth, so we are going to IPOs. But when it comes to SMEs, you still see a positive PAT, or it's still like you see the market growth? Like, how is it?
So yes, when it comes to SMEs, we still see at least operating level profit, 1 crore minimum in 2 out of 3 years. We see positive cash flows. Now, the reason for that is if we see the profile of the investors who've mainly been investing in the SME markets, these are mostly retail or HNI clients. When we have seen listings of new age companies on the main board platform, those who are yet to make profits, that's what is called through a route called 6.2. That's a regulation 6.2. So 6.1 is the regulation by which companies which have a minimum of 15 crore of PAT. So average PAT of 15 crores. So that is in the last 3 years, which means a cumulative PAT of 45 crores in the last 3 years. So that's one route through which you list. If you don't have that, the route where if you are either loss making or don't have these kind of profits, to list on the main board is the 6.2 route. That's the route which is mainly used by the new age or the unicorns or the tech companies. Because in these companies, then in the 6.2, what you need is a minimum of 75% of institutional buyers, what is called as qualified institutional buyers. So these are, you know, the mutual funds or the insurance companies or the pension funds, somewhere whom we know are more well informed, right, than the average retail investor. So because we don't have these participants in the SME market, and by nature, an SME is still in the early stages, the risk of failure of an SME is much more higher than it is of a company which is scaled up already. That is the reason why we have generally seen two things. One is that it needs to already be profitable at the operating level and at the profit after tax level, and of course having cash flows. And the second is also that an average investor generally has to minimum subscribe to a lot of 2 lakhs. So for example, if you were to buy a scrip of any of the main board listed companies,
companies, you could do by buying even just one share. But in case of SMEs, you need to mainly buy at least a minimum of 2 lakhs or a multiple of that. So these two are inherent guardrails which have been kept because of the riskiness profile of the SME companies.
Hi, my name is Vishnu. I'm the founder of Asan Will. We are one of India's favorite will writing brand, Vasiyat, legal air certificates, gift deeds. So everybody is talking about a lot of wealth creation and wealth management, but unfortunately we all ignore wealth transfer. So the one thing we all have in common is not even taxes, but death. So I started the business 3 years ago because I lost my uncle without a will. And in India, it's quite a big mess. So right now I feel like I'm on day 2, tea, batting, ball is still swinging. The challenge is, and my question is to you, Uttam, because behavior change takes such a long time. And India is a young country. Nobody wants to think about death, even though it's inevitable. So I would love to get some tips from you, because you are talking about forever banking. We are talking about forever protection. I think they go well in together. I would also love to pitch you later and to see if there's a way we can leverage the phygital model. Yep. Because we do both online using AI. Obviously, AI helps legal tech quite a bit. But Hindustan, you also need to do the phygital side because people want that high touch. And I'm also a Rajasthani from Bits Pilani. Okay, so would love to hear your thoughts on this.
So, sorry, I missed your name.
Vishnu.
Vishnu Bhagwan ho yaar. So, you need to stay on. Because if you are so confident about your model, because in India, whatever your chosen a path of making a will, like insurance. In India, still insurance penetration is just negligible, nothing. Because still we see insurance as an investment, not a security, and so as you are saying that. So, but at the same time, I'm very sorry to say that, time se pehle movie aa jati hai, fail bhi ho jati hai. You see Lamhe. It came before time. People didn't accept it. Aaj agar Lamhe movie aaye, it's going to be a hit. So you just need to time your presence, your model, your sustenance, your stability. If you have strong stability to stay on with your model, I think it's a great model. But how long it will take? Acceptability, adoption with the people, nobody knows. So the distribution, the awareness, the people, 1.4 billion people, it's a great idea, I can say that. Because we also provide our customers, will. You can write will, you can come to bank and we will provide you the services. But still, very, very feeble response. So idea is great, but how much stability and that sustenance you have with you, that's the point.
Hopefully we can increase your adoption with our tech.
Please, happy to explore, happy to take it forward. Yeah, thank you, Vishnu. Yeah.
Good morning, panel. This is Shrikant Raheja from BACO. I have a couple of questions. I'll just quickly ask. First question is Mr. C.K. Kumarvel. I really got inspired of your speech. The thing is, when you started your naturals thing, I think it's a very unorganized segment when it comes to the saloons and all. What is the market research? I'm an expert of marketing and advertisements, so I'm just very curious because many startups now, India has a failing of startup scaling because of one thing. What we have observed is they lack a market research, and they don't understand the ground level realities when it comes to the hype realities. So I just wanted to give your inputs. What are the mistakes and what is the reality checks to make the market research and get into the go-to-the market things and all?
Sure, I got the question, so thank you.
Sorry for the interrupt. I just have one more question for Mr. Uttamji. As a banker, what is the steps you want to take? You're taking. What are your things you are taking for the startup industries and how you're supporting for the startup segments and all? Thank you.
Yeah, first is before Naturals, I used to run a product called Raga, which is a FMCG product. I had a lot of money then. So I hired a very popular market research agencies and wanted to go to non-South and ask them to prepare feasibility report. They took 10 lakhs from me and gave me a spiral bound book. Okay, and the product failed. When I started Naturals, I did not have money. Okay. Nature, when it adds difficulty, throws in brains also. I used my brain in the back of the envelope. I put the plus and the minus. I took the decision. In life, there is no right decision or wrong decision. You have to take that decision and then make that decision the right decision. And that's what I have done.
Yeah, so for startup, as I told you, I also come from that category, you know. And still today in bank also, we fund to a lot of startups. Startup is just a name, you know. It's a small shop owner starting his own business, or a vehicle, a commercial vehicle, a loading vehicle, customer is buying a small vehicle. It's also a startup. Actually in India, self-employed is the most easiest thing to start. You bring some capital, and you start your own business. India is a land of entrepreneurs. So as we come from that fraternity, as a bank, we love to cater those categories to those startups, because RBI has given us that small finance bank tag because of that only. I need to cater those guys. So as a bank, we are always there to support startups, new ideas, entrepreneurs, maybe small, big, whatever. MSME, you know, the real definition of micro, I'm into microfinancing also. My first loan starts from 50,000 rupees to the tier 4 woman who's takes 50,000 for her livelihood, for her family. So bank is made for them only. I can assure you all that. My team is also here. You can interact later. But AU Bank ka janam isliye hua hai. And we carry that swag in, no. We are for them only. Really, it's interesting. Yeah. Thank you.
Parvati, this question for you. Basically, a couple of years ago, we were looking at raising capital with SME. You know, I'd been to Bombay. We are a tech product IT company. So, but we were taken aback when we met a lot of bankers there. You know, we found the entire approach towards getting into SME IPO was fraud. You know, that kind of a feeling we got, and we moved out, and fortunately, we were, you know, partly acquired by a 5,000 crore market cap kind of a company. So that's a good story that ended. I have another company that I'm building now, a publication tech company. So I'm looking at once again SME. So I can see the numbers have gone down in terms of the number of companies going to SME IPO. So what's the significant difference that has come up now, you know, from 23, 24 to where SME NSE is working on? Like, you know, in terms of how strong the model is now for young entrepreneurs to go directly and, you know, go to an IPO, SME IPO?
Sure. So the number has, yes, gone down, partly because it's not a full financial year, which I've seen. But despite that, the last financial year has seen a lesser number of listing. So let's first answer the first question. There has been an evolution in the SME IPO market. In terms of how the practices were, there is definitely a refinement, because again, acceptability of this from the investor has changed. Like what you said, some ideas can be ahead of time, right? So initially, it was very difficult to even convince people that this is an option. From there on, we began with the idea that, okay, this is something which I may explore. May not be every kind of right poster boy we get. From there on, 24 was a market where everyone had a FOMO, I just want this, whether it is the issuer or it's the investor, right? In the market, especially when it is investors, there comes a flavor of the season. So 24 flavor of the season was SME IPOs. Preceding that, there was also Bitcoin, there was metals, there was real estate. So from an investor perspective, out of various things, again, unicorn and tech was one. We heard Dr. Raj earlier saying that all you had to do was to call to get a term sheet, right? So from an investor's perspective, वो दौर आता है. There is a flavor every season. Things refine and the markets move to a mature phase. So today in the SME IPO space, coming to your second question, is in a much more balanced and a mature phase. There's been a relook at the regulations which are surrounding that, which is where the minimum profitability and all those norms have come. We in turn have seen an average IPO size increase. So if you were to look at from 2012 to today, average IPO size is about 35 crores. But if we were to look at 2024 to today, the average IPO size is 50 crores, right? We've seen about 20 IPOs which are above 100 crores. The largest SME IPO was 200 crores. So this is basically where the market is maturing. It's changing the ways. The ecosystem is adapting to a newer ways. We've seen institutional investors participate in the platform. We've seen certain marquee investors likes of Varun, Sunil Singhania ji, Vijay Kedia ji, Mukul Agarwal ji. These have invested. A number of VC funds, family offices, AIFs which are managed have put in their money. So this only comes when the market shows that it's a mature market, it's a deeper market. So yes, currently it's in a phase of correction because overall equity markets have corrected. But in terms of where it stands, it's I would say in a mature phase now, which has the ability to absorb every kind of business, right? So the tech names which have listed in the last 6 months may not have been possible had it been 22, 23, 24. Now it has gained acceptance. And so now you will see more tech companies also list on this platform.
Hi. This question is to the professor. My name is Vicky. We are into IT hardware design, engineering and manufacturing. We are selling with our own brand name called RDP. So, Professor, I think as he mentioned, 99.5% of the companies are still under 25 crore less than revenue. Even when I go through this MSME definition, enterprise means 500 crore above definition. The stats are very good. See, how much percentage of this MBA knowledge is required? See, one side, resilience, real life exposure, not giving up, everything is good. But how much percentage of this MBAs is required? Because, when I went to coffee, I saw a lot of strategy rooms. Everybody are brainstorming strategy. Mm-hmm. Okay. One side, research report is not worth. Another side, strategy sessions are happening. When we are not scaling up, we always feel that, something is lacking. Is that something is lacking? I can't come to ISB for doing a 3 months in-house program, money, everything. So my first question is how much percentage of this MBA knowledge is required for scaling up? A. And second, definitely, when you are explaining this PB ratio, what we are going, the book value and the market value, definitely that's how the wealth creation. Mm-hmm. See, we are not aware of all these things. Once we know, we will try to work for that, right? So are there any SME specific sessions ISB can do? If not in-house, maybe an online, mm-hmm. Okay, maybe so that, whenever at our free time, we can go through all these GAN, what we can't, get through Big Four or this McKinsey kind of things. Even for us, knowing about these words are also, of course, now with the help of, I'm the big fan of AI. Mm-hmm. What we could not build our website in 14 years, RDP, we built in 14 days. Mm-hmm. Trust me. So, yeah, I hope you understand my question.
Well, I think what you're asking is, before you get to these valuations, number one, you have to survive. You have to scale up. And in order to scale up, you have to look at what are the mechanisms you're going to use that. We saw the mechanism of franchising. Franchising is one way. If you have a good idea, then what you're doing, when you're doing franchising, is actually you're doing a B2B sell first. Okay, business to business sell. And then there are additional values that come out of it. But by doing a business-to-business sell, we are able to penetrate the market much faster. And some of the principles that we're talking about out here, they also apply to large companies. There was a time I ran into the chief marketing officer of Samsung in Singapore, And he was concerned about how Apple, with the Apple stores, had locked in the US market. And what they did is said, look, this is a big company like Samsung. They didn't have enough money to blanket Asia, with the stores. So they went with the franchising model. So what you have to do is think of, number one, how you're going to build the business. Very often, sometimes it's a software kind of a solution. Or we could use it in banking, we could use it in healthcare. The biggest mistake I've seen is people opening too many fronts and not having enough energy to exploit any one fund. But distribution is going to be important. The other thing that you have to take into account is that if you have a really new idea, your marketing is actually educating the customer as to why they need you. And so I don't have a common solution for everybody. But before we get into valuation, before we get into EBITDAs and things like that, what you have to do is you have to build the business. And in the front end, I drew that curve up front. Actually, if I can extend that curve even further back, it's something called the valley of death. Okay, very, very often companies don't survive that valley of death. Now, when you come out of it, your biggest challenge is scaling up. And scaling up means building a distribution system. And very often you may need to look at a strategic partner who's going to take you over the line. Meaning somebody who needs your product. See, not everybody is going to be a Microsoft. And so what we do at the Center for Business Innovation is we also run something called the Plug-in Alliance. And in the Plug-in Alliance, the idea is that you're building a partial solution that plugs into somebody else's business. Okay? So anyway, what I'm saying is before we get into all these fancy valuations, you need to build up the business. But I also want you to understand that many of these things that you're doing, they're not tangible. They don't show up on paper. So when you're building up the business and you are able to generate, clients, the clients are your source of money. So if I look at banking, it is the number of customers the banks has and what are they doing with those customers. So, of course, there's a checking account, there's a savings account. But then what you're doing is you're doing some cross-selling. And that cross-selling means you go into credit cards, you go into real estate loans, you go into insurance, and so on and so forth. So similarly, when you are looking at a product, then if I'm looking at, do I fund you or not, I'm going to be looking at what is it that you're doing with your customers, are you able to lock them in? And these multiples that we were talking about, for example, for Nykaa, is really based on strategy. And what is the strategy? Strategy is really how do we permeate, in the case of Nykaa, how do we go into tier 2 towns? How do we get into the villages? How do we sell online? How do we do franchising to open the boutiques? So I don't have a single answer. Can we do a program? The answer is yes. I'm glad we have 250 odd people here, and we'll design one so people can sign up. Sorry, it's a long answer that I gave you.
I just take 2 minutes. Sorry.
Yeah, I want to quickly add one thing. There is a strategy learning itself. It gives you an advantage. I'm not against that. I'm actually in favor of it. 5 plus 4 equal to 9. So is 6 plus 3. So is 10 minus 1. There is no one right answer. Multiple ways, multiple people can solve a problem. So don't think there is only one way to solve a problem. That's the first thing I want to leave it. Second one is I want to say that the content is the king, but the context is the God. You need to think contextually and find your answer.
So I would also like, sorry.
I've got one thing to say for him. He's a closet academic.
See, I would like to add 1 minute here, You need to ask 2 questions to yourself, Who you and why you? When we are making our brand, who are you? You कौन है? तो आपको भी काम कर रहे हैं, कुछ भी कर रहे हैं. Who you? And then why you? Why people will take you? Product, services, maybe based on study, as CK sir discuss, decide, or decide then discuss. At times, decision not taken is also decision. We in our organization, at times we say we take decisions, then we make it right. We don't take right decisions. They don't take all the right decisions, but we will take decisions and then we make it right. So there is no right question or answer, Entrepreneur journey is a typical journey. You need to live through. Yeah. If I've come Bombay to Hyderabad by flight or by road, I have to travel this journey. Maybe I'm coming from jet or my road, by train or whatever, I have to complete this journey. That's the point.
Good afternoon. I'm Donna Thakur. I'm a young founder building Glowcart in the food industry. And I just wanted to ask a question open to the entire panel, that if you're in your 20s again in today's India where there's young founders everywhere, what advice would you give yourself? Would you immediately jump into scaling something buildable, or would you first build a structured experience inside an organization and then start your entrepreneurial journey? So, yeah.
So today, young people, I will say, be in a ready, fire, aim mode. Ready, steady, fire, the world is changed. Today, you need to ready, fire, and then aim.
I तो wish मैं 20 years का होता अभी.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me? Yeah. So my name is Ashwin Reddy. I'm actually an alum from the PGP 2012 batch. And I run a PMS based out of Hyderabad. We invest in slightly larger companies, not the SMEs. But one aspect which I thought the panel could touch upon is the role of a good board or advisors to SMEs while scaling up. Because when I see companies around me, right, they rely on themselves or very close network, but they don't reach out to professionals in their scale-up journey. If you can talk about it, it'll be helpful to the whole panel, I thought.
You go ahead.
So I think the most important question, your board should be, agile, versatile, relevant to your business, your thoughts, because their experiences, because I experienced when we got the first equity 2008, उससे पहले तो बोर्ड मीटिंग मैं और संजय सामने बैठते थे, ऐसे बोर्ड मीटिंग कर लेते थे. बोर्ड मीटिंग होगी, रेजोल्यूशन पास कर दो. अर्लीस्ट तो बोर्ड रेजोल्यूशन हैज बीन पास्ड एंड ब्ला ब्ला ब्ला, और लास्ट डेट देखते थे और ये डेट पे कर देते थे. बैक 95-96. So board is the most important thing. You should choose your board members, your experience. Everything, different industry, because their experience matters. You should be very serious in, choosing your board. It's very, very important for any organization, any MSME. Don't take it lightly. Please take my advice. Board is a very most important thing. Yeah. Don't take it there. They'll just come and question you and you need to answer. It's my company, or why they are questioning me. No. It's not like that. Yeah.
Okay, let me add to that. Around the turn of the century, this is 25 years ago, I was working with a group of people. We called our company Value Inc. We wanted to educate board members about the industry, that the members of the board who don't even know the industry. And they're there to sign things off, and that is ridiculous if your board members don't know your own industry. Second thing is that there's too much emphasis, in my opinion, that is looking at what the Ministry for Corporate Affairs needs. To me, that's just the baseline. You have to produce results, you have to have proper disclosure, etc. And so what is needed sometimes is that we look at that. It's like passing class 10 before you can get into passing class 12 before you can get into a university. So that is the basic, but you need to kind of look at what is it that the board members can add beyond that. I will not name the company, but I was once making a presentation to people at board level, and I was comparing Walmart with Amazon. And I had shown the Amazon, how they started out with e-commerce, and they got into AWS, and they got into video streaming for Netflix, and then they did their own. This was a flywheel, how they kept growing. And then I showed financially that while they were smaller than Walmart in revenue, and only this year has Amazon finally overtaken Walmart, I said they were about 5 times the value. And a board member, kind of a board level person, looked at me and said, "Sir, that's not a fair comparison." And I said, I didn't say anything. And he said, "It's not a fair comparison because you're comparing a retailer with a conglomerate." So I didn't say anything for about 30 seconds. And 30 seconds there's a saying that silence is deafening. All right? And then my response was, whose fault is that? Okay, as a board member, your job is not only to keep an eye on what the management is doing or not doing, but you're also supposed to be asking questions about how you are going to be growing in the future. And that is the biggest thing that is needed. And I think this is where Indian boards need to get more active in looking at the future. Unfortunately, this is a long answer. The one I showed one slide from Professor Anup Srivastava from Canada. He's started out as an engineer, got into strategy and operations, and now has ended up as an accountant. He was talking, to my students about one of the possible reasons why the growth in India is so slow. And that is because what we are doing is we're looking at EBITDA. Sometimes these are proprietor-managed companies. And what they want to do is they want to pass on to the family. And what they're not doing is they're passing on the incentives to the manager. So the managers are being rewarded, based on performance, EBITDA, and they also, so that they get the bonus, on that. Now, if you're doing that, if you're being rewarded on EBITDA, what you're going to do is you're going to hold back the R&D, you're going to hold back the marketing, and you're going to hold back these investments. In the West, not Europe. Europe is bound by a lot of bureaucracy. The beauty in the US is that as a manager, your compensation is coming from what you're supposed to do. Then there's a bonus based on performance. But your biggest bonus is your stock options, which is where your company will be in the future. So what happens is instead of saving money, you take a little bit more risk of investing in the future. So, this is a long answer, but this is something where we need to really change. We need to start focusing on how we're going to navigate the future. And the board has to be not just producing safe results, they have to be working with the company and management in reshaping the future. Thanks. Thank you.
Two more quick points I'd like to add to both what they said. I think from the SME's perspective, the choice of the merchant banker, that's the one who's going to take your issue to the exchange and file it, becomes very important because many SME promoters aren't even aware of what is required in terms of the norms. So many merchant bankers approach it just as a tick mark activity that I need two people who are independent, I need one who's a woman director, I need a compliance officer who's a company secretary, and they just put together that package. So that's where, as someone who is looking at a longer term vision and not just the activity of getting listed, you need to put your foot down as a promoter and say that I need the right board, right? And the second thing is, at the exchange, we understand this, that for SME companies, it's much more difficult. So we've done workshops for independent directors of SME listed companies and compliance officers of SME listed companies, where we've got faculty from the Company Secretaries Institute, the Independent Directors Institute, and have done something which is tailor-made in terms of, what are the risks and liabilities of being independent directors, and more importantly, what are the best practices which are expected of you as being an independent director. And we're going to continue to do that, because that's something, if you need more listed companies, you also need more independent directors and company secretaries, and you need to have the right quality of them. So from an exchange's perspective, this is what we are trying to do.
Yeah, I think we've done these questions because I think it's time for lunch. But before closing, I have one question for CKK. Nothing about business. I think I worked with him very closely, and I'm sure whatever he talks, he gives a very interesting analogy and story. And I just want to ask, because you've seen the picture earlier, and now you've seen him. I think he has become 20 years, 30 years younger than what he is. What is the secret, sir?
No, I was just telling them in the tea break to a couple of friends is that I was weighing 85 kg some 5 years before, and I wanted to reduce weight. I joined the gym. I became 90 kgs. Then I consulted a dietitian, I became 95. Somebody told Bombay, look, is the most popular one, he can only give you a solution. I joined this course, then I became 100. Then suddenly I became 105. That's when I realized the secret of your success lies in your daily habit. If your daily habit doesn't change, you cannot be successful. So that is when I took the intermittent fasting. I became 100, then 95, now 89. Then I'm on the way to 85 back. But my question, the problem is intermittent fasting will not work for everyone. My question paper is different, your question paper is different. Please understand that and write exams very clearly. Otherwise, you will get into trouble zone. Don't blame me.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I think, Anvesh, it was a lovely day. I think the time has been spent very well. A lot of knowledge, a lot of insights from all the experts. And we look forward to host more such sessions coming forward. And also, as I said, this is the beginning of the Scale Me for everyone and including us. And we'll come back to you. So can we have a group photo? We will turn. You can just stand so that we can have a selfie style photo. The one they want to take and then we will. Can come close so that.